Hello students and my dear friends. Myself HR Chaudhary, working as assistant professor in Department of CSC, Engineering College Ajmer. So yesterday we discussed about the different topics regarding substance testing. Now we'll continue the yesterday lecture today. So already we had done what is a substance testing. Yesterday we had discussed this thing, and who can perform the acceptance testing, it is also discussed yesterday. We also compared acceptance testing and V model yesterday. We also done the prerequisites for user acceptance testing yesterday. And now today we will see that how we can conduct the user acceptance testing, that is how to do UAT. So we can see we have a different kind of steps to conduct the UAT. So UAT, basically user acceptance testing, is done by the intended users of the system or software. This type of software testing usually happens at the client location, which is known as the beta testing. Once entry criteria for the UAT are satisfied, which is already we discussed, the following are the tasks need to be performed by the testers. So we can see that different kind of tasks are there. What may be there, we can start from the requirement analysis, then after we can move to the UAT plan creation. After that we can move to the identified scenarios. After that we have to move creation of UAT test cases, and then we will prepare the data test plan for UAT. After that we'll run the test cases, and in the last confirm the business objectives. So these are the points which are to be needed in the UAT testing. So we can start from the what does it mean by analysis of the requirements. So once the most of the important activity in the UAT is to identify and the develop test scenarios. Basically these test scenarios are derived from the following documents. What documents may be there? That may be the project charter may be there. We can derive from project charter. We can derive from the business use case process flow diagrams. We can derive from the business requirement documents, that is also known as BRD. It can also be derived from the system requirement specifications, and that is also known as SRS. Now in the second step we see the creation of UAT plans. Basically UAT test plans outlines the strategy that will be used to verify and ensure an application meets its business requirements, its documents, and the exit criteria for the UAT. Test scenarios and the test cases approach and the timelines of the testing. So these are the things which we have to plan in the UAT test creation. After that we can see the identified test scenarios and test cases. Basically that is third and fourth step, identify test cases and creation of UAT test cases. So in third and fourth we can see that identify the test scenario with the respect to high level business process, create test cases with the clear test steps. Test cases could sufficiently cover most of the UAT scenarios. Business use case are input for creation the test cases. Basically and now the preparation of test data, that is the fifth step. It is the best advice to use the live data for UAT. We should use the live data for UAT. Data should be scrambled for the privacy and the security reasons. Tester should be familiar with the database flow. So this is the sixth step. Now to run and record the results, execute test cases and report bugs if any, retest bug once fixed. Test management tools can be used for this execution. Now in the last step, in the confirm business objective, business analyst or we can say UAT testers needs to send a sign off mail after the UAT testing. After sign off of the product is good to go for production. Deliverables for UAT testings are test plan, test scenarios or UAT scenarios and test cases, and the test results and the defect bugs. So these are the things through those should be performed if you want to implement the UAT. So these are the steps through which we can then implement the user acceptance testing. Now we'll see the qualities of the UAT tester. Before moving to the qualities, we should also know there are certain kind of exit criteria for the UAT. So what kind of exit criteria may be there? So we can have the 2-3 exit criteria may be there. They may be before moving to the production. The following needs to be considered. What may be there? No critical defects open. Definitely there should be no critical defects open. It should be closed. It should be rectified all the critical defects. The second one, we can say the business process works satisfactorily. Definitely it should be work satisfactorily. And the third one, user acceptance testing sign off meeting with all the stakeholders. It should be completed before moving to the production. So these are the things that may be considered as the exit criteria. Now we'll move to the qualities for the UAT testers. So what qualities should have the UAT tester? There are certain kind of qualities may be there. What qualities? The first one, we can see the UAT tester, that is a user acceptance tester, should possess good knowledge of the business. Definitely he and she should have the good knowledge of the business, so he can design or create the test cases in a good way, and he can judge the software in a good way basically. The second one, we can say he and she should be independent and think as a unknown user to the system. They should not be part from the development team and the other things. They should be independent, so they can give the good kind of advice and they can produce a exact result for the software testing. And the tester should be analytical and the lateral thinker. Definitely should be analytical kind, so that he can produce a good kind of result. So these are the qualities for the testers that should be in a UAT testing. Now we will move, there are certain kind of best practices for the UAT, user acceptance testing, that should be considered here. So following are points that should be considered to make UAT successful. So that's why we should follow these practices. So those practices may be there. Prepare UAT plans early in the project life cycle. So we should prepare all the kind of plans in the early in the project life cycle. The second one may be there, prepare checklist before moving to the UAT start. So we should prepare a checklist for each and every kind of task before moving to user acceptance testing starts. We should conduct a pre-UAT session during system testing phases itself. So we should conduct these kind of testing before moving for the actual testing. We should set the expectation and the defined scope of UAT clearly. So we should do this thing in the advance before starting the testing. The test end-to-end business flow and avoid system tests. We should avoid these kind of things before moving to the next phase or testing. Now we can see that we should think as an unknown user to the system. So we should think as an unknown user to the system. Definitely it should be done. And perform usability testing. We should perform usability testing before moving to the next step, or before moving to the user acceptance testing. We should conduct the feedback session and meetings before moving to the production. So it is necessary to take the feedback from all stakeholders and from the development team, or from all kind of things before moving to the user acceptance testing. Now the next one, the UAT tools. We have a certain kind of UAT tools. So what kind of tools are available in the market through which we can implement the user acceptance testing? So there are several tools in the market used for user acceptance testing, and some are listed definitely. The fitness tool, there is one tool, fitness tool. It is a Java tool used as a testing engine. It is easy to create tests and record results in a table. Users of the tool enter the formatted input and testers are created automatically. The testers are then executed and the output is returned back to the user. So this is a one kind of tool that is known as a fitness tool. Now second one is Water. It is a toolkit used to automate browser based testing during user acceptance testing. Ruby is the programming language used for the inter-process communication between Ruby or internal Explorer. So this is the second kind of test tool which can be used to testing for different kind of software, user acceptance testing basically. Now we have a certain example guidelines for the UAT, what may be there definitely. So there are certain kind of guidelines may be there. What are these guidelines? Most of the things in a regular software developing scenarios, UAT is carried out in a question answer environment. If there is no staging or the UAT environment, then it should be implemented. Second one, UAT is classified into beta and the alpha testing, but it is not so important when the software is developed for a service based industry. So definitely it should be considered. And UAT makes more sense when the customers is involved to a greater extent, so it should be included in the example. So this is the over now user acceptance testing. Thank you.